How can you start a YouTube channel from nothing? What do you do if you have 0 subscribers, 0 views? How can you grow? How long does it take? And what's the formula? Well, I'm going to give you my top 10 tips for starting a YouTube channel from 0. I've been on YouTube now for almost 5 years and I've learned a few things in that time. Just like everybody else, I started out with 0 subscribers, 0 views, and 0 idea of what the hell I was doing. Now I slowly creeped up over time, but barely. I was making content that I thought was good, that I wanted to make, but it really just wasn't going anywhere. Now I'm making a success of YouTube and it's down to these top 10 tips. Know your audience. Make videos people want to watch. Make your content engaging. Show and tell. Fake it till you make it. Spend time on scripting. Be critical of yourself. Get feedback. Share your videos and build your community. If you do these 10 simple things, your YouTube channel will grow fast. Over the first 4 years, I barely grew. You can see from the charts on my analytics for my other channel that I really wasn't achieving much, until suddenly I struck gold, got monetized, and started to grow. Now, if you follow these 10 tips, you'll likely grow your channel from nothing, just like I did. Tip number 1, know your audience. Your audience already exists. Channels like Film Booth and Channel Makers, they talk about this a lot. In fact, I saw a video from Nate Black, formerly of Channel Makers, this morning that was talking about this very thing. Your audience is already out there on YouTube. Hundreds of millions of people use YouTube every single day. You don't need to create this audience for your channel. It's already there. You just need to tap into it. Different niches will have different audiences. But if you know your niche, even in general terms, you can easily tap into that existing market. And that's a huge point that I wish I'd known earlier. But how do you know your audience? Well, there's a few ways you can see what they engage with. Number 1, what are you interested in? If you're interested in your niche, then the chances are others will be as well. This is a great starting point. What do you like to do? What's your content? What kind of things do you want to hear? Start making videos for that. Number 2, what are people watching in your niche? Look at other channels in your niche and see what content they are making and what people are watching. Apps like vidIQ, they will show you your competitors. I recommend vidIQ very highly. Number 3, go into comments on other channels' videos and see what people are saying about the videos. How do they engage? Are they positive? Are they negative? Learn from what they're saying and the feedback they are giving. Are they asking for any particular topics? Are they feeding back on the graphics used or the sounds they've used? This can all be incredibly helpful information for your own channel in the same niche. Now, this brings me nicely onto tip number 2. Make videos people want to watch. It sounds so simple when you say it like that, but you'd be surprised how many ignore this. I certainly ignored it for a very long time, and look where that got me. Pretty much nowhere. Now, it's great if you want to make videos about, I don't know, banana skins. And how amazing banana skins are, if they are amazing, I don't know. You might be super into banana skins for whatever weird reason, I don't know. But are other people into banana skins as much as you are? Now, if it's a super niche area, maybe you'll strike gold and it will take off and it'll be amazing. But the chances are probably slim and you might struggle. Apps like PlannerVid, vidIQ, and TubeBuddy can really help here by showing you the kind of heat map of sorts. Basically, how many people are searching for the keywords that you want to use? How many people are searching for the content that you want to make? This is where tools like vidIQ, though, I think are a bit better than the others, because it can give you an idea of not just how popular they are, but how competitive they are. Let's have a look at the Keyword Explorer. You can see here from simple changes to the titles and keywords that potential audience can grow from a very small one with a few thousand people to potentially massive with many millions of people. That's a big difference. My advice here is to focus on keywords and titles that have high potential viewers and low competition. But don't be overly restrictive or prescriptive. The keyword research is just a guide. Moving on to tip number 3. Make your content interesting and engaging. There's no point having a great idea that's got huge potential view count if what you produce is just boring garbage. People might watch it, but they probably won't stick around. The worst thing that can happen to a channel is people clicking off their videos prematurely because it's just not engaging them. That's what we call retention. But what should your retention be? Of course, look, we'd all love 100%, but that's unrealistic for most people, never mind a new YouTuber. According to most sources, average retention should be ideally in the 50 to 60% range. Retention can be measured in two ways, and you want both to be as high as possible. 30-second retention and average view duration. You want as many people watching beyond the first 30 seconds as possible, and that's typically where we see the biggest drop-off. According to YouTube, a typical 30-second retention is around 60 to 70% of viewers. And what that means is more than 60% of the viewers should still be watching after the first 30 seconds. If it's less than this figure, something is wrong with your intro and you need to change it. Average view durations should also be similar in the 50 to 60% region. If it's less than this, it means one simple fact. Your audience is not engaged with your video. It's that simple. Now, I'm not perfect in this at all. My full video retention goes from just below 25% to almost 100%. The higher end of that is YouTube Shorts, which is expected as they are much shorter and people are more likely to watch them till the end. For normal videos, my best retention is just above 50%. Not perfect, but okay. I clearly need to work on my retention for longer videos, but this brings me to a good point. You shouldn't expect as high retention for a 1-hour video as a 30-second short. It's just not going to happen. Think about a movie. How many will watch the trailer versus how many will watch the actual film? Bear in mind as well that with most films, people have already paid to see it, so they're already invested in it. How many would walk out halfway through, say, Eternals, for example, sorry, but it was a pretty bad film, if they got it for free? And that's what YouTube is, free. If you want to make an hour-long video, fantastic, but how are you going to engage people for that time? That is hard. You probably don't have hundreds of millions of dollars like the Hollywood film studios do, and they still get it wrong half the time. You're going to have to put a lot of work in to make that 1-hour video engaging till the very end. Why is retention a big issue though? YouTube's goal is simple. Keep people on the platform, keep them consuming content, and keep showing them ads. It's that simple. YouTube wants people to stay, and if they're bored with your videos and clicking off them, that goes against what YouTube wants. What do you think YouTube is going to do to your channel? Are they going to show your video that people are clicking off to millions of people who are likely to leave YouTube because your video sucks? Or are they going to just basically hide it and not show it to anyone? And that actually moves us nicely into tip number 4, show and tell. If you make a video of you just talking to the camera, what we call a talking head, that's great. But how engaging do you really think that is for 20 minutes or half an hour? Now, for people that know you, hardcore fans, it's great. But how many of those hardcore fans do you really have? It's probably not going to make you a massive YouTube megastar. Now, the best way to create engagement is with showing. You can show and tell, but you really need to put the effort into the show part. Now, you see those graphics that I've just used? That's an example of showing as well as telling. I'm telling you that you need to make it more engaging and how you can do it. But if I just said that, it'd be pretty boring. By showing you graphics on the screen, I make it more engaging. Adding sounds like this can also make it more engaging to your audience as it makes it more realistic. If a graphic is whooshing in and off the screen like this, it makes sense to add a whooshing sound to it. It will make more sense to the viewer, makes it more realistic and therefore more engaging. Now, there's many ways you can do show as well as tell, and how you do it will depend on your style, your brand, and what you're trying to achieve. This will evolve over time, so don't worry too much about getting it perfect, but you do need to put effort into this. Let's look at some examples of how to show rather than just tell. Now, I watch a lot of tech YouTube. Mr. Who's the Boss is a well-known tech YouTuber, and he's on the, let's say, extreme end of showing. His videos are fast-paced, graphically intensive, extremely catchy. Let's just watch a 30-second intro of one of his videos and just see how many graphics he uses.
There's a good chance that you've seen a Segway before, but what you probably haven't seen is the Mecha Kit. Basically a throne that you can bolt onto the Segway, turning yourself into the modern-day equivalent of a supervillain with working gel blasters to pepper your family members with. Hello. That is so fun. I never grew out of toys. I love Lego, I love dart guns, I love board games. But toys have also gotten a lot more capable in the last decade. So I've researched, I've tested the 10 most high-end, technologically advanced toys that make both the kid and the adult inside of me very excited. Like the square-off chessboard. I used to play chess obsessively growing up, and this right here is the product of my childhood dreams.
Now let's look at a very different example now. This is Casey Neistat, another very well-known YouTuber, and he has a very different approach to show and tell. Let's have a look at a 30-second intro of one of his videos.
So this is the Insta360 Go 3.
Now you can see here there's a big difference. Mr. Who's the Boss has graphics coming out of the wazoo, total overload, whereas Casey Neistat has barely any graphics, but he's showing you in other ways. Let's review the video clip and analyze it.
So this is the Insta360 Go 3.
Now these are the two ends of the spectrum for the same thing, showing, not just telling. And both are engaging in their own way. You will find your own style somewhere in between. Just remember to show as well as tell to keep your audience engaged. These are two big channels I've shown, but this leads us to tip number 5. Act like a big channel. Fake it till you make it. You're probably thinking, yeah, but these guys are huge with over 25 million subscribers combined. I can't do that. Why not? Why does their number of subscribers make any real difference? Sure, they are probably throwing money at fancier graphics and fancier editing and have better cameras and so on. But does that mean that you can't do similar? No, it really doesn't actually. You can do almost the same thing with very simple editing, simple graphics, and simple sound effects. Sites like Canva offer free stock footage, although if you really want the best footage, you may want the pro version. It's actually surprisingly affordable. I'll put a link in the description down below. The free version is surprisingly powerful as well though. It actually even comes with a video editor of sorts. You can animate text or simply just put it on the screen at the right time, though I do recommend animating it and including sound effects as I've said earlier. Again, basic stuff will do, it doesn't have to be perfect. When you really think about it, what are the big channels are doing that you can't do? If you don't do these things, are your videos going to be engaging? Are they going to draw in the views? Are you going to get the subscribers that you want? Think about your videos. Would you watch them? The point is here, if you act like a small channel, you'll be a small channel. If you make videos thinking, well, it doesn't matter because nobody's really going to watch it anyway, well, almost certainly nobody will. Make your videos as if millions of people are going to watch it, and it actually might just happen. I wish I'd realized this a lot sooner as well. My early videos were truly awful. In fact, I'm actually quite embarrassed to show you, but I've still kept them on my channel. I think it's important to look back on them. I actually fell into this trap of thinking, well, you know what? I'm just making it for a few people that'll watch it, even if it's bad. But then at the same time, getting really upset that nobody beyond those few people actually watched it. Act big, and you might just get big. What else do big channels do? Well, they put the time into scripting their videos, and that is tip number 6. If you watch channels like Linus Tech Tips or MKBHD, Marcus Brownlee, they've got huge teams working on scripting, probably more than the filming and editing teams. Why is that? Editing is really important, but frankly, it doesn't matter how much you polish a turd, it's still a turd. If your script is bad, the video will be bad. No amount of editing can save it. I'm speaking from experience here. From a long time, I didn't put in any real effort into scripting, just thinking, she'll be right. I'll put some fancy graphics in it. The reality is it does improve it, but not a lot. The real magic is in the scripting. Content creators like Ed from Film Booth recommend you spend about 75% of your time on the script. That's how important it is. Now, there's different ways to write a script, and you need to find what works well for you and your workflow. But here's a few ways to do it. Number 1, you can write a script like I'm doing here now. You can put inline editing into it so you know what to do when you come to editing. I think this makes it easier for editing and quicker, but it's not the only way to do it. I prefer to do it like this because it works for me, but you do what you want to do. Number 2, you can write the outline of a script and then fill in the gaps. Number 3, you can edit the script afterwards to go back in and put in the graphics you want for the video. I think it's a really good idea to put the editing workflow into the script, as it will make much more sense, and you also get a better idea of how the whole video will flow with the graphics, images, and B-roll footage. You can start to imagine the finished product as you are scripting it. This means there's, I think, less chance of making a video that the editing just can't save, that just basically sucks. The last thing you want to do is spend hours scripting and filming and editing, and you get to the edit and you watch it back at the end and you realize it kind of just doesn't work because it's just kind of garbage and there's not really anything you can do to save it. The graphics, the B-roll, whatever you can put in, it just doesn't really quite fit with what you're saying, or the flow of the video just doesn't work. I think adding editing workflow to the scripting process actually really helps to avoid this. I strongly suggest when you're scripting that you write it, rewrite it, and rewrite it again as many times as you need to. I personally go through many iterations of my scripts now, reading it out loud to myself, and I've actually started recording them, audio only. We don't need to spend time filming at that point, so I can play them back to me as it would sound to the audience. The benefit of this is you're much more likely, I think, to be critical of it if it's not just written down. When you review a script that you've written, if it's just on the computer, for example, like on my laptop, you're probably going to think it's better than it is and just kind of skip through it. That's just how the human brain works. So my top tip here is actually, when your script is almost finished, record it and play it back to yourself. The script for this video, I've written and rewritten, I think, a dozen times or more. If I'm not happy with a section, I'm just going to remove it, start again. This might sound annoying and a bit boring and time consuming, and it is, but it will save you a lot of headache later on and you will produce a much better video. And this leads us nicely onto tip number 7. Be critical of yourself. All the big YouTubers like MrBeast are extremely hard on themselves. They write and they rewrite and they rewrite their scripts until they are 100% satisfied with them. And even then, when it comes to the finished product, they'll watch the video, and if it's not right, they'll scrap it and start again. Here's a clip of MrBeast talking about this.
From scratch.
What advice would you give yourself when you were starting out?
Your videos suck. You think your videos are good, but they suck. They just do. And the sooner you learn how to make great videos that people actually want to watch, the sooner you'll get views.
Now, you don't have to be quite as critical as that. Especially if you're a part-time YouTuber like me, you probably don't have time to entirely scrap a video that isn't 100% perfect. But why put out something that you know just isn't good? This is why you really want to spend time in the scripting phase and don't just read it off the screen and read it out loud again and go, it's probably fine. No, does it actually make sense? Does it work? Does it sound good? Does it flow? Is it interesting? Is it engaging? Do the graphics I can put in make sense? What B-roll footage can I put in here? If it doesn't tick all those boxes, rewrite it. Time spent here will pay dividends as you won't need to spend anywhere near as long in the editing phase, and that's the bit that's time consuming or expensive if you outsource it. Being critical of yourself is one thing though. Even better is tip number 8, and that is getting feedback from other people. Again, I'm going to show you a clip about Mr. Beast talking about this.
Tell them, Jimmy, tell them.
I mean, they do that, and they have horrible friend groups because you really are like the type of YouTubers you hang around. It's getting people with the right YouTuber friend group that aren't pussies and will actually tell them when their content's bad and like actually roast it and help them get better in a nice, positive way.
Basically, what I did was I somehow found these other like 4 lunatics. 3 of us were college dropouts. 1 was a high school dropout, and 1, I don't know, he just like quit his job. We all were super small YouTubers, and we basically talked every day for 1,000 days in a row and did nothing but just like hyper study like what makes a good video, what makes a good thumbnail, what's good pacing, like how to go viral. We would just get on Skype every morning, and like some days like I'd get on Skype at 7 a.m. and I'd be in the call until like 10 p.m. and then I'd go to bed, I'd wake up and I'd do it again. We'd do things like take 1,000 thumbnails and see if like there's a correlation to the brightness of the thumbnail to how many views it got.
Imagine a world where it's just you working solo and you work 12 hours a day every day for like a year. And you're just grinding, you make a mistake, you learn from it, you grind, you make a mistake, you learn from it, and you do that for like a year. And then imagine a different world where you have 4 friends who are also equally grinding in something similar. Friend number 1 makes a mistake on Friday, he teaches the other 4 people. Friend number 2 makes a mistake the next week, teaches everyone. And then like you're all learning from each other's mistakes. You're all constantly studying 24/7 and downloading each other. Like after a year, you're like 2 years ahead of the guy who was just solo.
Do you frequently go that far out of your way to capture the thumbnail?
Yeah.
Now, maybe you don't have an inner circle of YouTubers that can give you feedback, but there are programs that you can join like vidIQ and TubeBuddy that will give you feedback on your titles using their AI features. And some like vidIQ actually have a mentoring program that you can join to get extra help. I've actually just signed up for that on my other channel. I will be doing it on this channel as well down the line. And it's absolutely amazing. I'm learning so much from my mentor. Hats off to you, vidIQ. Definitely worth signing up. I think the best thing that you can do, though, honestly, if you don't have people around you that you can ask, is just ask your loved ones, friends and family to give you honest feedback. In my early days on YouTube, I actually tried to get my wife to give me feedback, but she really wasn't very interested. She just kind of didn't see the point of it. But like now she can actually see the point because she can see I've got a future on the platform. She's a bit more interested in giving that feedback. In fact, yeah, sometimes she kind of gets a bit too much into it and can be a bit too honest, but actually that's really good. You don't want sycophants. You don't want yes men or people to just tell you that it's really good when it's not. If your video sucks, you need them to tell you it sucks. My wife is actually quite good at this, but I still love her. You need people to be brutally honest with you, or how are you going to know if it's actually good or not? The more people you can get from as wide a background as possible, the better. But realistically, most of us will probably have 1 or 2 people at most, but just ask them. Start getting that feedback. Once you get the feedback though, please act on it. There is no point getting the feedback if you don't do something about it. Don't be precious, don't get offended, and don't ignore it or you'll never learn. So once you've scripted, you've got the feedback, you've filmed and edited, then what do? Well, the next tip then is to start your channel off strong. Most YouTube programs recommend launching your channel with about 2 to 3 videos. I would probably recommend at least a little bit more, maybe 4 to 5. Now that sounds like a lot, and it is, but there's a reason for this. If you launch your channel with 1 video, you might get a killer video that does amazing. You get loads of views, loads of subscribers, and everything's peachy. For most of us though, that's probably not going to happen. We already said earlier that the way YouTube works is it wants to keep people on the site, and at the end of your video, they want people to watch another one. What you want though, is for them to watch another one of your videos. If you only have 1 video, how are they going to watch another video? If at the end of your video they go and watch another one of your videos, that says to YouTube, hey, this creator keeps people on the platform. Let's show more people their videos. The more videos you have, the more likely YouTube is to recommend your videos to your audience, especially if they are in the same or similar niches. The more of your videos the audience watches, the more YouTube will say, let's push this content creator and see what happens, and that's how your channel goes viral. It's hard to get a viral channel from one video. It's much easier from multiple videos, and the more you have, the bigger the effect will potentially be. More videos allows for more potential viral videos, and so on and so forth. You don't know what's going to take off. The more videos you have, the better your odds are. The biggest benefit, though, is when it comes to end screens. End screens are very important, and something that I ignored for far too long, but no more. What is an end screen? Well, it's pretty straightforward. It's the last 30 seconds or so of your YouTube video. You know that bit where YouTube shows you another video that you may want to watch? You can control this by changing what video or playlist is recommended by YouTube. The idea here is to get people watching your video at the end of your video, not someone else's video. You want your content to be boosted, not theirs. But there's a skill to master here, and that's how to organically link a video that you want the audience to watch. You can plonk a random video in, and look, maybe that's okay, maybe a playlist or both, whatever, but your audience is more likely to click on the video if it's related to what they've just watched. Or you can maybe set up a good hook for it. That's how things work. It's called dopamine. For example, the end screen to this video will link to another video I made about growing a YouTube channel. It makes sense to do that because the video is about growing a YouTube channel. People want to watch what they've already watched. They're already engaged with that content. They want to see more of it. So why not give it to them? If I tell people to go and watch a video on cats when they're interested in growing a YouTube channel, is that really going to help me? Probably not. Give them what they want, or at least make them interested and excited to click on the next video. In this video from Film Booth, Ed talks about how much effort he puts into his end screens. Spoiler, it's a lot. The idea here is simple. Keep people watching your videos and nobody else's. Very simple. The more videos you have in your niche, the more and more YouTube will recommend your videos, which will grow your channel a lot. Tip number 9 is to actually share your videos. That sounds silly, I know. Why would you go to all this effort to make a video, even multiple videos, and you wouldn't share them? You'd be surprised how many people make videos and never upload them. They're too scared. They're too afraid. They're worried that people are not going to like it or what. There's a number of reasons people do this, including, embarrassment, fear, imposter syndrome, whatever. If you want to make it on YouTube, you have to get used to people seeing your videos and being critical of them. Not everybody's going to like them. It's the harsh reality of the internet. You will get people being rude or mean on the comments. I'll come back to this later, but you do need a thick skin to be on YouTube. Sharing your videos is really useful and can drive a lot of traffic, but you do have to be a little bit smart about how you do it. Online communities like Discord servers and Facebook groups are great for this. What's better than a pre-made group with large numbers of people who will see your content, especially if you have no social media following? If you go on those groups and instantly start spamming though, one of two things is probably going to happen. Number 1, you'll piss everyone off, or number 2, you'll get banned. It's unlikely, but you could also get temporarily or permanently banned by Facebook for spamming as well, so be warned. Online communities are generally happy for people to post their content as long as you follow the group rules and contribute to the group. Contributing to the group does not mean spamming YouTube videos that you think they want to watch. It means engaging with that community, being helpful, asking and answering questions, building up your reputation in that community. Then when you post your content, they'll be more likely to click on it if they know who you are. When sharing your videos as well, there's a little known trick that you really should learn, and that's how to add a share all link to the end of your share URL. You can see it's very simple and doesn't affect how the social media post will look at all. This is very useful though, because when you share that video, the default next video will be something on your channel. So if someone doesn't click off YouTube or select another video themselves, let's say it's just playing in the background or they fall asleep, it does happen, then YouTube will also play another one of your videos. Perfect. It'll keep cycling through your videos until they run out. Another reason to make as many videos as you can. And again, YouTube will say this content creator is great because these people binge watch their shows, their episodes. I suggest you make a note of your share all URL and simply add it to the share URL every time you make a social media post. Please note though, this doesn't seem to work for embedded YouTube videos on blogs, for example, not sure why. Finally, tip number 10 is to try and build your online community. After you've uploaded your videos, it's essential to go back in and engage with your audience. If you want, you can make your own social media groups, Discord servers, Facebook groups, etc. And I think it's great to do that, but it is also a bit of a hassle. I've built a Discord server and Facebook groups for my other channel, and whilst they are small, they are growing and they are active. The best part is though, I'm fostering a community around me and my brand. You don't need to do that, but especially if you don't want the hassle. But what you really do need to do is go into the comments in your videos and respond to them. Like people's comments, react to them and write back, especially ones that are giving you good feedback, positive and negative. You can engage with trolls if you want, but I wouldn't really recommend it. And what this does is it tells YouTube, hey, this creator engages with the audience and they engage with the creator, which is YouTube speak for people are staying on the app, so let's push this channel more, and that is what you want. I noticed much better impressions after I started engaging more on my YouTube channel. Early on in your YouTube career, it's good to respond to most of the comments. Later on, of course, you can't respond to thousands of comments, so don't stress too much about that, but you do need to have some engagement. The more engagements you can get, that's likes, dislikes, and comments, the more YouTube will push it to people. So get commenting and encouraging others to comment. Actually, that's a great point. Don't worry about dislikes either. Basically, a like, a dislike, and a comment is YouTube's way of saying, hey, this person's engaged. These people like this content. They are engaging with this content. They are on the platform. So even if you get loads of dislikes, it doesn't actually matter. YouTube will not punish you. In fact, they will promote your content because it's controversial. People are doing something with it. Now, I would recommend pinning a comment on all your videos as well, especially if you can point them towards a product you're selling, for example, or asking them a specific question to encourage people to comment. vidIQ certainly recommends this in their SEO practices, as does TubeBuddy. And now for the end screen I promised you earlier. If you want to see my #1 trick for growing your YouTube channel, click on this video just there. Otherwise, if you do all of these things, your YouTube channel will grow and it should grow quickly. Once you're started, it's so much easier to grow. The hard part is starting. Think of YouTube like pushing a boulder down a hill. It's pretty damn hard to start to push the boulder. But once you do, if you can get it moving, it's just going to keep picking up momentum and going faster and faster.